Welcome to Answers with the Astral Bag Lady with your host, Reverend Dr. L. Newman, and myself, Reverend Spirit Soaring. And today we're going to talk about some things Jupiter and some insistent things. Did you say Saturn?
Yeah, Jupiter, Saturn,
Yeah.
they're quite
Yeah.
a
And it's
duo.
kind of like that. It's things Jupiter and insistent things Saturn.
I was saying to somebody the other day when Saturn gives you a goal, it's a command. Okay. Don't be
Yeah.
thinking you could wiggle out of it. It's like, okay, things I really dislike. I can't stand going to the DMV to renew my license or buy plates or whatever. The last time I went, happy birthday to me a couple years ago, I was there for 3.5 hours for a 5 minute process. Rubber stamp. There you go. 5 minute process. They do have some offices that have kiosks, but those are closed down because of the bug. I found a new word for bug this week and I'm loving it. Are you ready for a new word?
What is
Damn pemic. Gosh,
it?
damn pemic. Do you like that? That's courtesy of
Damn Pimmick.
Vic DiBitetto, who's a funny man. He's on my page all the time. He's constantly telling me I have to go back into stand up. No, I I'm pretty sure after 7 years of crappy hotel food, some good, mostly crap, and being on the road and whatever, uh, no, I'm not built for that anymore. It was fun. I quit the day it stopped being fun. Donna Austin says, hello, sweetheart. How are you? We have an admirer already. See that? Why don't you tell people how they can find us?
We're on YouTube Live. We're also today, and this is not going to be long lived because it's going to be fixed today.
Hmm,
Today we're on Four of Like Kind on Facebook, Spirit Soarings Take a Walk with Me on Facebook, and those are live sessions now.
sweet.
You can find us later this evening all over Anchor FM, Breaker FM, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, uh, YouTube streaming, or no, YouTube videos, not YouTube streaming, because
Yeah.
we're streaming now on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, Spotify, and a couple of others.
Excellent.
They keep growing and changing. So every week we get different different viewerships because of the Anchor FM. And if you'd like to get set up with an easy way to broadcast your stuff, check out Anchor FM.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
And StreamYard.
And StreamYard. StreamYard is wonderful.
Lots of folks I know are using it. So, okay, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. All right, you're 30. You graduated college. You matriculated and graduated summa cum something. Okay, but you can't find a job. You're still driving the car you had when you were delivering pizzas, considering delivering pizzas again, but the car won't make it. So what do? Well, it's America. You move home with mom and dad. Okay, now, if your mom and dad are like my mom and dad, we're talking Jupiter, Saturn. My dad was Heilka medicine. I come by it honestly.
Hmm.
He was a Gemini a week before my birthday's his birthday. And the nicest, funniest, one of the most personally magnetic men on the planet. And it didn't matter what he was doing, how arduous the task, he made it fun. Because without fun, might as well die. He would walk in a restaurant, grab the coffee pot, top up people's coffees, ask them how they liked the food. For my Aunt Dorothy's wedding, this is my favorite story. Aunt Dorothy's wedding, Dad was doing a benefit at Children's Hospital before the wedding. And she was married at St. Mary's, which is this big antique church in Greetown, downtown Detroit. And I'm waiting on the steps for my dad to come to the wedding because it's after, mom and dad. And this man gets out of my daddy's pink and white and black Buick. You remember that one? And waddles up the steps in a chicken suit. A chicken suit. And my Aunt Dorothy said, "Oh, Paul, I'm glad you made it." He goes, "Yeah, but I got a tux under here and I'm sweating like a pig." So ran in, stripped off chicken suit, went to the wedding. That was my dad. He wouldn't disappoint the kids any more than he would disappoint the people getting married. That's how he was. Now, on the other hand, you got Bernice. Bernice, at best, can be described as a Klingon. She was the Saturn in our lives. She never had fun ever. She saw that as a weakness. She saw emotions as a weakness. She was brilliant, but not smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brilliant, no people skills. Brilliant, hated everybody, mostly men, but women too. Oh, Heather's here. Hi, Heather. Why aren't you on the show if you're here, Heather? Suffice it to say, suffice it to say, it was everything or nothing, and that's what we were talking about yesterday. The Saturn's everything or nothing. I'm in an everything cycle right now. I have been since I think May. My calendar stopped at July. Remind me to flip it to August before August is over. Flip, flip, flip. Um, and as you know, as I know, anyone who's ever been self-employed, you know that there will be what I like to call seasons of plenty and leanness. Seasons of plenty are Jupiter. They don't last forever. Not when you're self-employed. They're not meant to. It's like being in love with a Scorpio. You can't live at that. I didn't know you wanted me here, Heather. Smack yourself. Just one little bam, face palm.
Here, I'll do it for you.
There you go. So
I'm
Bernice,
really good at face palming.
Bernice was a humorless woman who was more comfortable with mathematics than emotions or human beings. Okay, just lived there somewhere above whatever, in on the Van Allen belt. Well, imagine you moved back home with this, and so you've got the father who is, Charlie Good Boy, always having a good time, and the mother who is pretty much the nasty queen. You're waiting to drop a house on her because this is enough of this stuff. So you have to embrace the good, dad, in this case, Jupiter, and you have to endure and overcome. Enduring isn't enough. Endure and overcome the Saturn pattern. Because Saturn, yes, will give you challenges. Deal with it. That's what Saturn's about. Saturn will set new standards for you. That's a lovely thing, don't you think? Saturn will give you unbelievable deadlines. And remember, there's like an insidious cousin to this going on. We have a major Earth trine in the heavens right now. And once upon a time, uh, back beyond, before they discovered Uranus, Saturn ruled Aquarius. Well, now Saturn is in Aquarius, and Uranus is jealous. So Uranus is like gonna be the trophy wife. Okay, Uranus says things are gonna change here. Yeah, they are. So it puts us in a place where we must every single day. You and I have to make, especially with Virgo plans, small, steady adjustments. Okay, big changes will happen, but small, steady adjustments are a healthy way to go. Because that way you continue to tweak whatever you work on it, whether it's your mindset. Like you said, you've been happy for what, 3 days now? Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been happy for 3 days
3 days.
now. That's you.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to read uh,
Heather.
what Heather said.
Yeah.
She's familiar with StreamYard. I just send you a link, Heather, and you accept the link, and it pops you right up here.
Easy peasy. And you can turn off the camera. It's
Everybody loves to see my smiling face, so I'm not going to
there
turn.
you go. Yeah. And you do the eyebrow thing and you entertain them. So it's all good.
Yes, I am the comic relief here.
Whereas I still working on losing my chins. I got too
She's a
comfortable.
straight guy.
I got right. It's like, do you know the craziest, as in that shit, craziest woman I know is my voice of reason? And I can ask her something, she'll make sense. And then I'll think, but it's you. How can your whole life is fakakta? How can you make sense? Ooh, Heather says, send me a link next week. Yes. Yes. Heather's on. Yay. Hi, Linda. So it's everything or nothing. The thing
Hey,
about
look, we have Linda in the right chat room.
yeah, the thing about everything or nothing is that in the everything cycle, you do what you can. Do your best to stay alive. I've been trying my best, 18-hour work days. Pace yourself as best you can. Enjoy it and know that behind that cycle or following that cycle, subsequent to that cycle, there's going to be some downtime. You're going to be doing things like buying a water heater. Why? Because it's hard to live without one. We lived without one from August to October, the year of the flood. And let me tell you, when you condition your hair in cold water, it turns into mayonnaise.
Right.
It's not a good
Look,
look.
if you find yourself having to replace a hot water heater,
Yes, water heater.
serious,
If it were hot,
serious,
you
yeah,
wouldn't heat it.
seriously look at
With my buttons.
point of use water heaters. Gas or electric, they'll save you a ton of money heating your water. And
What I
your
want to
water
get is that air pumpy thing. Those
air
little.
pumpy thing.
It's like a yeah. It's like an air pump little water heater that sticks to the wall, and they run about $1,200, but they pay for themselves within a year.
Yeah.
Because I have 2 water heaters. That's how big this house is.
Um, Dad put point of use water heaters in his barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
He put one water heater in to control 5 wash basins, a washing machine, and a fully functioning bath and shower.
Mm-hmm.
And then he put one in to run as backup and to supply hot water to the kitchen.
Very good.
He went after that, a couple years after that, he went and put in one point of use water heater and did the plumbing for it in the house.
Okay.
He reduced his household electrical costs because he was using an electric to heat water.
Mm-hmm.
He used his house. He reduced his household electrical costs by like 63% in the first year.
Tankless water heater. That's what they
Yeah,
are.
that's what it is. It's a tankless water heater, point of use.
And they literally pay for themselves in a year. How sweet
Yeah,
is that? It's like solar panels. So some things it just makes sense.
yeah. We're looking at the solar panels for the RV now
Excellent.
because we like to boondock as much as we like to camp and organize spots.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so having a solar panel so you can run the electrical devices in the RV is gonna be nice.
Yep. And those of us in this area who've just gone through a 4-day blackout, aren't those always fun? Uh, it's either got to be a generator or some solar panels. One or the other, not both. Maybe both.
Yeah.
Sure both.
We're going to do both. If we don't already have a generator when we get the RV, we're going to get an RV
Mm-hmm.
or a generator for the RV.
Sure.
Um, because there again, you don't always have a place to hook up to electrical service.
Sure.
And y'all want to see my smiling face every Tuesday and everybody else every day of the week. So we kind of have to have power.
Yeah.
And,
It's a good thing.
yeah.
How you gonna watch Pornhub?
I don't.
You know what? It's funny. I cruise there on occasion. It's funny when you see the expressions on the ladies' faces, like, "Oh, I hope I don't have laundry when I get home." It's like, "Oh my."
There are a couple women-oriented, women-run businesses like that,
Mhm.
and we even got away from those a couple of years ago. Seems really feels strongly about sexploitation.
It's a sad thing.
It is, and now there's a country, not a third world country, a first world country that has decided to legalize all kinds of horrendous activity.
Mm-hmm.
You should have heard the fuss when she read the article this morning. And we probably won't be going to Australia.
Well, my money's gone to Australia. When Courtney graduated from high school, here's a Jupiter story. She's a Leo. You can't say no to a Leo. They give you the eyes. They look up at you through those big, thick eyelashes, and smile, and pick my pocket, kid. So for her, my senior class trip, we cruised up and down the Detroit River, okay, on an old boat. Courtney went to, let me get it in the right order, Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia, California, home. Not bad, eh? For being 17.
Uh,
Unfortunately, Mrs. Vogler, the trip advisor, the lady advisor of the trip, her husband, Mr. Vogler, was the male advisor, for some reason, bought herself a tuna sandwich on the beach and was dead shortly thereafter.
Oh
Didn't
boy.
we? At which point the kids quit eating because they're sure that, it's poison, we're gonna die. And Mr. Vogler, God bless him, he held his wife in his arms with the hotel doctor there for no reason. Um, he cleaned her hair, brushed her hair, put her makeup on, held her for a couple hours and said, okay, you can take her now. And he donated all of her organs, and then he had to get a loan from the Teachers Credit Union just to get her body back. And this is how synchronistic. This is so Jupiter Neptune. The kids got home just in time for me to drive them to her funeral.
Wow.
Bam. Yeah. Not fond of snakes, not fond of bugs of the size they have there. Pet a koala bear, they sleep because they're nocturnal. Uh, Played with kangaroos, they spit, they're rude. They eat baseball caps. A friend of mine had that happen to him. Sharks in the water and other things that will eat you. No,
Yeah.
not to mention, I have a hard enough time knowing what day it is. That
Well,
is something like a 38-hour flight.
I have some Aboriginal brothers and sisters that live in the outback,
Mm-hmm.
and also in New Zealand. They're lovely, wonderful people,
Mm-hmm.
and I would gladly entertain them if they visited here.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as parts of the world that I haven't seen that I want to see, that's not part of the world that I want to see.
Yeah.
Been in tropical climates most of my life. I want to go places where I can see like the Swiss Alps.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see,
Pilatus, been there, beautiful. And remember, they're 10 weeks out of us, so you can go in February and it's spring there. You go
yeah,
in February and you're on the little cart thing that takes you up top of the mountain, and you look down and people have plants out on their patio in February.
yeah.
It's beautiful.
I would like to take Sweetie to the Spanish Riviera,
Mm-hmm.
because I think she would love it. Uh, and she wants to visit Lourdes,
Wow.
of all places, but Lourdes.
I have a teacher who was such a healer, Estelle something, I'll think of her last name when I'm not thinking of it, um, who went to Lourdes and they opened the water so she could put her hands in it. How's that for amazing? Isabel Hickey. Duh. See? Don't think about it. It's there. My phone cards get stuck. It's like an old Rolodex. Or my ones and whatever.
Heather says generators make sense. We want to get an RV eventually for her shows.
Yeah.
Our idea, Heather, and this is going into action as we speak. We're going roofless
Mm-hmm.
in 2 weeks and some days.
Mm-hmm.
We're going on the road. We're going to travel the fall winter metaphysical holistic / powwow circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Do as many shows all over the country as we can. Visit as many states as we can. Make as much building capital
Mm-hmm.
as we can, so we can
Sure.
come back in the spring and break ground.
Perfect. Everything in the right time.
Yeah, because our building season.
That's Jupiter. No, that's Saturn. That's Saturn. Saturn, thousand pardons. Saturn was sent to an island that was in chaos. And they were trying to plant in the winter and harvest in the middle of the summer when it wasn't done yet. And nothing came together. There was no sense of order. And so Saturn got a clipboard because that's what Saturn does. And he lined things up and said, now, if you plant in the spring, you got a first harvest August 2nd. You got another one, 9/21. Work with it. Eat the foods that are in season when they're in season. You'll stay healthier. And he gave him all this common sense stuff because that's Saturn. All this common sense stuff. And due to how much they revered his wisdom and how much it had enhanced their lives, they created a feast for him called Saturnalia. Okay. Saturn is not a bad guy. He's a drill sergeant, I admit. But he's a drill sergeant who simply expects you to live up to your best standards, not his, yours. So as long as you're making an effort, Saturn's not going to pound you into the ground with a mighty fist. Now, if you decide that you can obfuscate, that you can work around the rules and regulations, he's going to bite you on the posterior and develop lockjaw.
He's going to introduce you to his good friend Murphy.
Yeah, I prefer Cole to Murphy. Okay, I prefer Cole. They have more stimulating effect, but I prefer Cole to Murphy. Yeah, I think Murphy's laws there all the time, and especially now. Remember, Neptune is in Pisces for the first time in 110 years. The next time is another 110 years, and
And you
he
just
like.
thought Murphy was bad.
Oh yeah, he likes to put a fog around stuff. So it's if you're a Scorpio and love a mystery, this is a wonderful thing. If you're a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn and wants life to make sense, kiss that goodbye. And Neptune sits there for like a decade. Howdy, get used to it. Conversely, it is the most creative time. Once again, Monet, Sigmund Freud, Franz Liszt, the list of creative genius that occurred during that last cycle. It's just endless. You name somebody great in that time cycle, and they'll have that strong influence in their chart. We all do. Even better, it's helping us return to a real sense of humanity. Aquarius, Saturn, Jupiter, which is part of what, and Neptune, which is part of what stopped the pipeline. Thank you, God. Not that should have ever happened, but we have to stake our claim that we're the stewards of Mother Earth.
Legally, it's been stopped. It's still crawling along because they're not abiding by the law.
Well, Energy Transfer Partners, never forget that name. They build pipelines that leak at least once a week. At least once.
They've been breaking at least 12 environmental laws an hour for the last 6 weeks because that's when they got given the environmental impact shutdown.
Mm.
Um,
So if you're gonna go big, huh?
yeah, if you're going to go big, they're already in the billions of dollars worth of fines.
Here's the thing. In my little fertile valley here, if you don't mow the lawn or pull your weeds, you get a ticket. Okay. Now I've got a 180-foot fence that faces a side street that's always full of garbage, thanks to people who think that my flower bed is where you put your garbage. I can get a ticket for that as well. Across the street from me are three Bigfoots. You are supposed to have 30 feet between the houses. If there's 20, we're lucky. It's more like 15. Now, they get away with it because they pay off City Hall. I can't afford to pay off City Hall for all the litterers in Royal Oak. And this
Right.
weekend, oh, brace yourself, boys and girls. This weekend is what we like to call the Great American Booze Cruise. Yes, millions of people will flood the area to look at cars and exhale, exhaust, actually. Yeah. Sit in the back of their truck and drink a beer and watch cars go by. Kill me first. Now, lucky me, I'm on the first big street on the Mile Road off of Woodward. It's a Woodward Dream Cruise. Which means when they shut down the Mile Roads or it gets too busy on Woodward, they go past my house. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
In the years past, we've had many booze bottles, crotchless panties, there's a thought, uh, food wrappers, dirty diapers, and you name it, tossed in my flower bed. The city comes in and cleans Woodward in a day. They've never helped me once. It's all about the money, honey. And yet it can't be, which is part of this. That's why we're going through what we're going through.
Yeah, the there's some things this got to happen. This got to change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for one, Mr. Murdoch needs to be shut down. His
Yep.
his worldwide disinformation network is done nothing but cause catastrophe after catastrophe. Um, for two, um, if other countries have designated term limits for all of their governing bodies, I'm not saying we should fall in line, but we should at least examine it
Mm-hmm.
because you've got 70-plus-year-olds on Capitol Hill that have no clue what's really going on in the world.
Nor do they care.
Yeah, nor do they care because somebody's paying them a fat wallet to sit and play dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And a report surfaced this week that's excerpts, and you can see where they excerpted it from the Reefer Madness report way back in 1973,
Mhm.
trying to claim that marijuana can and will induce psychoses.
Okay, okay. I have uh, just because I laugh at them and I don't throw them away. Yet I have a bottle of very pricey. I think they were $125 drugs that were supposed to elevate my mood. Because when I did that stage dive last February, they decided I was depressed because I wasn't eating. I wasn't eating because my
Pain.
vicious dentist ruined my bite and I can't chew. Now, it's great for the diet if you want to live on pudding and ice cream and yogurt and mushy stuff like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the crust cut off. It's an ugly world. Uh, so I just wasn't eating because it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
She built this appliance and cranked it in one of my teeth, and it rocks and it hurts and it's nasty. But that's okay because implants are getting cheaper all the time. It's on the list. You know what I mean? After a lot of other things, it's on the list. So they gave me these, whatever they are. And it says right on the wrapper. I mean, I do go on WebMD. I should have done that before I got any, but go on WebMD and check out side effects. May cause nausea, dyspepsia, heartburn, death. And so it's these are the antidepressants upon which the highest preponderance of people who've taken them commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now on one hand, I guess that is the way to stop feeling suicidal. On the other hand, you're going to wake up suicidal in the next lifetime, so that doesn't really buy me a lot of quality time.
Right.
And
So
when Lisa said, "Why are you giving her these?" the doctor said, "I have no idea. I have no idea." Excuse me.
just take the medical card down to the corner, walk in,
I
get you get you some nice flour, walk back to the
no 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 no
walk
no
back to the Jeep, drive
no.
home.
No,
Sit-
my
s-
dispensary delivers.
Oh, you've got it. We
If they would just bring me a pizza with it, that'd be perfect.
right. They have
Double pizza.
passed. They have legalized that here now.
Hmm.
They haven't gotten to the actual delivery stage yet.
As long as you spend $100, and you can always like add in some edibles.
Oh yeah,
I got an ounce of beautiful shake called Butter Cake. Butter Cake. It's a sativa, so it's a head buzz, not a go to sleep, eat fudge brownies, fall asleep on the couch. Um, with my first time customer discount, so I'm going to be a first time customer everywhere in Hazel Park,
right.
and my senior senility discount because you only have to be 50 to get that here. Are you feeling old? I What I would have paid $150 for at Green Buddha, which was a nice place, but not that nice. I
But
paid
pricey.
$59 for an ounce.
That's not bad.
That's one step up from growing it yourself.
Now for your special patients, I have a recommendation.
Yes.
I have a friend out on the West Coast that developed a strain for people that are going through it.
Hmm.
It's called Jelly Beans.
Okay.
It is amazing. Um, Even with my PTSD and with me being fully triggered, they can set me down with a little bit of that, and I'm fine.
Sweet.
Um, and by a little bit, you saw my spoon.
Yep.
It holds less than a tenth of a gram of flour.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we medicate. We don't sit around and get high.
I have to keep this stuff down because it's too potent. It's like 38%, although the edibles are 100, which explains why they have me blasted out of my mind. And I'm eating them like candy because it tastes good. Ooh, let's have another one. No fool.
Um,
What I've discovered having a lot of success with, and this is decades now, is Bach Flower Rescue Remedy. It's $12. You can get the pastilles, you can get the drops. I recommend the drops.
the
Um,
drops are good.
drops are wonderful. Pastilles can have, which I didn't discover until I'd eaten half a tin in one day, a certain laxative effect. Now, I tend to avoid things like taco hell because of that. So why volunteer? Why volunteer? So yeah, in bipolar rescue remedy, it's like nature's Valium. You can't be too happy. You can't be too sad. You're in that middle pillar where you really need to be. Just zen. You're not
Be
making your happiness.
watching
Pardon?
for Magical Monday coming up.
Yeah.
We're actually processing wild lettuce.
Nice.
We're going to teach people how to make a natural alternative to opiates.
Hmm.
Um, because one of the essential things that needs to happen is the opioid endemic needs to end. And the only way that that's ever going to end is if you
Alternatives.
have alternatives that aren't
Mhm.
addictive.
My son-in-law was on, I don't even know, oxycodone for 4 years. He got hurt at work. He was 6'5". The discs in his back got crushed. He's now 6'3". Not short, but not as tall as he used to be. Um, so they put him on oxys for 4 years. And the last time he went to get it filled, they said, "Oh, you can't take that anymore."
Yeah.
And didn't offer him anything else. You have some Tylenol. Okay.
Just
Isn't that kind of like
and
going from
they do.
morphine,
They expect you to go from
morphine to baby aspirin?
yeah, from full blown addiction to cold turkey and
So
when you're hi
I'm
Lisa.
gonna sound like a negative Nancy, but I'm not. I tend to wonder how well some of these drugs are tested before they're put out for human consumption. Question
They've
B.
known
Hmm.
for 270 years that any derivative of the opium poppy
Mm-hmm.
is 100% addictive 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Any derivative. They have proven without doubt scientifically that any synthetic form of an opioid derivative is 3 times as likely to be addictive and 5 times as likely to be lethal
Sure.
as the original. So you take your chances. Um,
True.
or you learn to live with pain, or you learn to deal with pain in a natural way. You know,
I like to call it pain management because the pain, you might not be feeling the pain at the moment, but it's still there. And whenever your technique or your drug of choice or whatever it is wears off, you got the pain. But the pain doesn't own your life.
right.
And any woman that's given birth knows you can use pain as a power source. You can breathe with it,
Hmm.
and it's actually kind of a head rush. Um, so it's not the end of the world, but it's more about managing the pain than expecting it to just go bye bye because it won't. It's not going
If I need to wake up really quick,
to. Hmm.
my right hip is mostly metal. So when I land,
Yeah.
I get this endorphin rush.
Can you set up the alarms at the airport?
I did for a long time.
Huh.
In fact, I got strip searched trying to go into a federal courthouse.
Well, there you go. Fun day.
But they have made some adjustments to, I guess, a lot of those metal detectors to rule out medical grade titanium
Hmm.
as long as it's not large enough amounts of medical grade titanium to build a gun with.
Now we have those plastic thing machines now.
Yeah,
You can just build a phony gun out of plastic on a fancy printer.
laser
I
print.
should mention that we are blessed. We are fortunate. I'm a natural born tither because I always have been. I was taught from day one that you give your best to your friends and to needy people. It's very Native American considering my mother was a mutt. However, there are dreams of hope for the children in South Dakota, in particular, the Lakota children at St. Joseph's Indian School. Yes, I know there's no such thing as Indian. We'll talk about that later. For only $15, you can provide nutritious meals for these children. For 25, you can provide bedding and linens. For 50, you can provide warm clothing, which they still need. They're in the mountains. For 90, you get them all three. Send whatever you can. Send five and just say, do with it what you can. If you have questions or you want to donate, By phone, you can call toll free at 1-800-341-2235, or just look for the St. Joseph's Indian School in Chamberlain, South Dakota, which is so beautiful because that's where the land rolls away. And it's the first tourist stop. So, toilets and junk out of the refreshment machines. And then appears to be like a pretty big plateau out back, but it's not. So running children often get knocked down by their parents because then it's a 9,000-foot drop to that big muddy river. And it is just breathtakingly beautiful. On the left, heading east, you'll have the tourist center, which is cool because when they have the comfort zones, they built these big copper teepee shapes, so you get a sense of I'm home. And on the right hand side is a greasy little diner, good burgers, and right above it is the St. Joseph School for Children. Do whatever you can. I'm granted they're raising them Catholic, but we can fix that later. At least they have clothes and meals. But there's the Catholic thing. See, there's Jupiter Saturn. Jupiter says, I want a philosophical belief system that's malleable, which is not to say I'm going to change my values or principles situationally. I'm not going to treat one person differently than the other, but it has to grow with me as I understand more about my connection to God and nature and life. It has to grow. And Saturn says,
You're
"Oh,
you're
you got to have a guidebook. You got
you're
a
you're
rule."
kind of a combination animistic,
And nihilistic.
but Buddhism, Shintoism,
Yep. Native
um,
American.
with a fair sprinkling of Kabbalah knowledge.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, Rabbi Gelberman.
I walked away from religion so many times. Finding myself as a minister was kind of counterpoint.
Yeah.
Um, but I came to it honestly. People don't need religion; they need spirituality. They need
Uh-huh.
faith. And
One doesn't necessarily equate the other.
right, you have to have one to find the other,
Uh-huh.
but you don't necessarily. They don't necessarily run concurrently. You know, a lot of people have found that fence post really comfortable,
Hmm.
and tithing to an entity that guarantees you a seat at the table on the other side of the pearly gates. I read a joke the other day. A young group of pagans ended up inadvertently at the pearly gates. St. Peter greeted them, and well, he asked him. He says, "Well, what are you here for?" "Oh, we were thought we were going to the Summerlands." "Oh, come this way. Come right this way." And he led them through the gates, across the meadows, and down a hill into a valley, and they entered the valley. And he said, "Welcome to the Summerlands. Peace and blessings be upon you." And they were noticing there's this group of dissenters standing up on the hill, arguing, fussing, raising a ruckus. And St. Peter said, "Yeah, they were dissenters. They didn't believe that everybody had a right to be here. So that's their job. They have to stand there all day and all night and fuss.
Mm.
Man, that's what heaven's like for them." "Oh no, they're in hell." Hell is what you create for yourself, and arguably, a lot of you have created a really bad place.
Yep.
I've lived here for the last, I don't know, millennia. Uh, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've lived through some crazy stuff, and I've expired because of some crazy stuff. Uh, I've
Gotcha.
never seen hell,
No such thing.
not once. I've never seen hell, except for what I've walked through here.
Back before we had awareness of do not resuscitate orders, which are not a suggestion, it's a command, Saturn, I sat with many hospice clients who died who were not nice people. And I knew if there were a hell, these would be the folks with a seat in the permanent smoking section. You know what I mean? They brought him back, and all they ever talked about was beauty and their beloveds and their pets and peace and harmony. And they were a little bit pissed at being back in a sick body. It's like,
Yeah.
thanks. Now I'm having cancer again. Thank you.
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, Dion Fortune, in her book called Through the Gates of Death, I highly recommend you get a copy from Abe Books, says that hell, when you go to hell, they take you to a giant hall, and they open the double doors to the giant hall. And in that hall, there's 1,000 people. And every one of those 1,000 people is manifesting one of your worst habits, your worst self. Now, if you find yourself in a place where you're sorely tempted to be your own worst self, make it a mirror and look at the quality and quantity and type of relationships you're calling in, the kind of experiences and lessons you're calling in, and realize you've made this for yourself. It's like when you have a nightmare. I've had some weird dreams lately, and it was people doing things they wouldn't do, people leaving me, people whatever, and I, of course, I get up and overanalyze the hell out of it. And then I thought, well, no, what I'm looking at is the contrary angle. Here's a story that's flat, and I give it depth, looking at it from another point of view, which is the only way you can look at life. You have to look at it from a different perspective every little once in a while, or you miss stuff, beautiful stuff, magical stuff. Jupiter, Saturn. So for those of us who are,
Oh no.
now we're Skype, it is Stripe, that is Skype. How do you get on Skype?
I don't have a touch screen.
Well, it's been a good show, folks. We'll see you next week.
Sorry about that, guys. Swampy was trying to call in for some reason.
Well, he's in charge of that, so don't look at me. I can't wait for Swampland Radio to come back. We got the Sam. I'll do whatever I can to help him because he's brilliant. In fact, what was I doing? Oh, I was cleaning the house because I had carpenter coming over the other day. That was pointless. And I have all these hairy cats, so after a while, the carpet's not the right color. And when you walk around, you get cat hair all over your clothes. So I was vacuuming and cleaning and doing whatever. And then the guy called and said, oh, I can't make it. And I thought, well, that's cool. The house was cleaned anyway. See? So I went to my Saturn and got to the corners. I hadn't dusted in a while. And then Jupiter, I got to enjoy this beautiful, clean house. It's lovely. No complaint. Once again, I'm getting landlocked. I really don't want to go anywhere. This may go away. It may not. This may be the only picture you get to see me from now on. So you show up in Michigan, Although I had lost a chin. The
You guys
mask
have to help
thing.
me out. I've been trying to get her to let Lisa take a picture of her for a month and a half.
Oh, hell no. I got one of my driver's license. That's a pretty one.
She said,
The
I
day
don't
that I was in hell.
selfies.
Sheer hell. I got 3.5 wedding albums. Nah. Bad days. It's quite all right. We'll get there. Like I said, initially when the gosh damn pandemic hit, I lost 50 pounds because I was dealing with this tooth thing. And then somewhere along the line, my love of carbs came back, and you don't need teeth to eat carbs, just cut them small, slather in butter, slide them down. So one day I walked in the bathroom and I said, I have the neck of a Shar-Pei. This is not good. Maybe duct tape behind my ears, So I've lost one chin, but I still have, as they say, more chins in the Chinese phone book. So I'm working on that. So when my chin count is down, then I'll bring my Medusa face to the screen. Ta-da. And scare people. Although I make faces. You make faces. We could just end mugging for 2 hours. So we know Jupiter, Saturn, disparate energies. Saturn is growth and expansion and no limits. And Saturn says, slow down, boy. You don't know what you're doing. You don't even know where the clutch is. And you got your foot on the gas. Yeah, hop, hop, hop. So between the two, it brings a certain level. There's still that joyous, optimistic, inner happy child. And, you got to keep your inner child happy or they bite. At least mine does. And I promise not to lick people, much less bite them for, till the damn pandemic is over. I'm trying. I'm working at that. Jason Momoa, yeah. You're getting licked. Yeah. Anybody else? Well, Yeah, there's a short list. Johnny Depp, who's crazy. He's an Aquarius rising. You can tell. His first job was selling stuff on the phone, pens and pencils and erasers and whatnot. And to entertain himself, which is what we Aquarian types do, he used a different accent every time he picked the phone up and a different name. So it looked like he was six different people. I think that's exciting. Explains his love life too. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Saturn says we need to set a standard, a gold standard, and it has to be your personal best. Mine isn't yours. Yours isn't mine. They're not meant to be. I was born from a totally different gene pool on a swampy side of the planet. Uh, you might be 17th generation Chinese, clear as a bell. It doesn't really matter. It isn't the skills that you were given; it's what you do with them. To to
True
be
that.
disciplined is to live up to your abilities. What you were saying something.
I said,
Hi, how you doing?
you said it's not, it's what you do with the gifts.
Yes, yes.
That is too
Your
true.
skill set, your unique skill set. I've yet to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. I'm getting closer. Probably a drummer. I don't you think? Probably a drummer.
Well, JC has taken on a new client.
Good, good.
Yeah, she's working with the hereditary witch queen,
Mm,
trying to help the woman get her memories back.
cool. I did hypnotherapy for 20 something years. I had a woman come to me she was obese. And my partner at the time said, you need a chair. If you're going to do hypnotherapy, you need a chair that's like a love seat. It's got to be big for big ladies. Okay. And so I got the chair and I got a footstool that went with it. Just like $3,000. Beautiful. Suede, gorgeous. And I had it in the corner with a sound system and, bookcase and everything's lovely. And I had my little seat and I'd sit and put them through their past lives and loves and whatnot. And I know from experience that very often men and women who are overweight because they've had bad experiences with love or they've been abused, and it's insulation. It's like I'll be as unattractive as I can be, so you won't want to touch me. But I wish you would. But no. But I wish you would. No. So there's that conflict thing going on. And a lot of times they're abused. So this young woman, I finally took her back to being free, and she had clear memories of that. And her father continued on until she was about 10. Then she was too old for him. And she'd carried this inside her all this time, and obviously more lifetimes, because the biggest life lessons you have are repeat patterns, right? And I helped her, and she moved on, and she did well, and life is good. And then one day, this strange man came into my office for a session, and I thought, there's something skeevy about this guy. Pure Neptune, something skeevy here. And I don't really think he's here to find out what I know. He's here to find out what I know about him. And as he's talking, I realize he's her father. He's the man that abused a 3-year-old child. Okay, all right. My lizard brain said, kill. Oh, then I got to clean the mess up. How do you get rid of a body? I don't have a wood chipper. My freezer's not big enough.
You
Fine.
call your brother and say, "Will you help me out, buddy?"
We got lots of acres up north. So we sat there and he broached the subject in the terms of, oh, my daughters accused me of doing awful things. And I said, you know what? None of my business. I knew what he did. None of my business. But I don't see how you're still alive having done something like that, because the sheer weight of the guilt, unless you're a sociopath, the sheer weight of the guilt would stop my heart from beating. And I said, and the final lessons of it, only you and God know the truth.
True.
Now, who's going to sit in judgment on you? And he threw his money on the desk and ran out the door. And I thought, well, that's fun. But I really did. It took everything I had not to pop his eyes out or.
What you gotta ask yourself is, how heavy is that feather going to be?
I know. I wanted to jam my thumbnails into his Adam's apple and move it like to the side. I really did. And I thought, no,
That's harsh.
yeah, and messy. I just got my hands up. Yeah, and once again, There are laws of human beings, and we can mess with them all the time. They're arbitrary. Anyhow, look at this neighborhood. I have to cut my lawn. Well, I hire a service. Guy across the street could probably squat on his lawn, and they wouldn't care because he paid the money to be there. Uh, in the final essence of it, you sit in judgment on yourself. That those scales where you put your heart and the feather, uh, which is I used Mott and Tiamat. Those are the goddesses. Mott and Tiamat
Yeah.
are goddesses that weigh your heart. And if your heart's as light as feather, you go to heaven or whatever, or Valhalla, whatever your choice might be. I'd like to go to Saunders. They used to have this cream puff hot fudge sundae. It is to die for. Oh, and it was in like a big boomba. It's wonderful. Lots of whipped cream.
I don't know. I've sat so many times with the creator in the trout stream that I figure at that end of my life, that's probably where I'll end up.
Sure.
Um,
I
but
don't care. I mean, okay, if I could, I'd go back to where I was last time in New Orleans with Dr. John and the Muppets because I make a hella Muppet. I had this big yellow dress on. I was so happy. So yeah, I haunt Jackson Square. Yeah, that'd be fun. But I don't care. Don't care.
I'm pretty
One thing
much
about
sure
it, it's like once you've
I'm
been
making
there,
a quick turnaround again. So
mm,
I'm pretty sure I'm making a quick turnaround again.
well, only if I get my taxes done. I don't want to wake up with the
Don't want to
same
wake
mother-in-law
up.
relationship with
Don't
the
want to wake up to tax issues, huh?
okay. Swampy said something about a prompt, but it's all good now. Okay, well, Swampy fixed it. See, that's what we have staff. We have executive producer, Mr. Greg Burris. Grug. I'll call you Grug now. Greg Burris.
I've been
Sound
called
light
her.
camera action, Mr. Stephen Pritchett. It's all good. Research team, the rest of us. And a child screaming in the backyard because you can hear them a block away. Lovely. Don't worry about having her hell. They're all constructed to control you with fear. Live in the now. Exactly, Swamp. Live in the moment. Live in the moment. Um, my drumming teacher, my African drum teacher, Babatunde Olatunji, was so great and marvelous and excellent. How good was he? That when he died, MTV did an homage to him. Brilliant man. He and my other teacher, Abu Sila, were invited to come to the UN and drum in the Millennium. Cool people. One of his many quotes were, and I was so blessed to have him as a teacher, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery. That's why we call today the present. It's the only time that really has any value. Amen. Amen.
The logic is sound
Mhm.
till you meet somebody like me.
Well, you and I have our own time zone. Uh, but
I live in the many nows.
the operative there is to let go of yesterday because if you're meant to do it differently, you would have. Don't cling so tightly to your vision of tomorrow because that is prone to change. And instead to live so completely in the moment now that you're not missing out on anything. Why are we waiting to hit the lottery to be happy? I'm still waiting on my $250,000. Why are we waiting to have the perfect love relationship, to have a complete life? Why are we waiting to have a ton of money to have a complete life when actually creating those situations and conditions makes a barrier between you and your happiness? And when you could be I'd be just as happy in a tent if I had my cats and my drums. Okay? The rest of it could go. I have no problem with it. Kind of like seeing a family, but
My
anyway.
happiness is not conditional on my better half, my partner,
Mm-hmm.
but my happiness is complete with my better half, my partner.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the ugly moments, even in the dark moments, I know there's always a we're gonna move past this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we live in the now. We plan for today. We have hopes and dreams, and we live with the ideologies that hopes and dreams are what make moving forward worthwhile.
Absolutely.
So we won't let people quash dreams. We won't let people step on other people's dreams. We will fight for your dreams, even if your dreams are ugly. But that's
Dreams
neither.
that are ugly are dreams you didn't pay attention to. That's why they become nightmares. And once you deal with them as nightmares, that monster under the bed is just a furball and it rolls on by. So why get in the way of
Help
your own
with that. Reach
prosperity?
out.
Prosperity. Check this out. Hello. Uh, Learn this new habit in order to manifest. Venus, Jupiter's manifesting time. We're coming into that in 4 more weeks. Make it an act second nature in your life because it will impact every atom of your experience. And that essence is called gratitude. Express gratitude for every blessing in your life, especially the small, seemingly insignificant ones. Throughout the day, speak to the universal words of thanks for life, meals, friends, family, work, income, those you have and those you want to manifest. This opens the channels of manifestations. It is the key that unlocks all prosperity and attracts more blessings into your experience. You find a penny on the ground, accept it with the absolute gratitude as if it were $100 bill.
Mhm.
Yeah, be grateful. Like I said, in the crazy Jupiter cycle, which I'm in right now, uh, I'm up to here in reports. And then in the middle of doing reports, as I told you, I have software that is El Chateau. So my El Chateau software, I'm doing a couple things. So it's the like 180 pages each, something like that. It's the transit and activity report. So the transit report shows you in color codes what days you do certain things on. And the other report says, yeah, Swampy, be right back in a minute. Uh, the other report has it in text. So I highlighted the really heavy duty days. There's an aspect every day, and you can plan ahead. And when you find a cycle that's working for you, make a star, make a note, say what happened. Follow that in your dreams. It's all interconnected. So my printer, well, no, it's a software. The software prints two-sided, and I need single side, so I have to run 2 copies every time. Okay, and something happened, and I reran Suzanne Humphreys, the Jello Witch of Key West, Florida, the boss at Sloppy Joe's and my best buddy. I'm wearing your shirt, honey. Um, I ran her chart the second time, and I'm looking at it. This is so wrong. Somehow it took her from being a Pisces, February 25th, to being a Cancer. Now, I'm a stickler for accuracy. So I ran it again. I ended up running it 4 times before it finally said, oh, February 25th is not Cancer, it's Pisces. No shit, Sherlock. Then I get to sit and color code them. It has taken me so long to get through them that I've had to add a month on to the other end because it starts on August 1st, and that was a while ago. I usually get 5 to 10 days for shipping. This is pushing my luck just a bit. So yeah, and of course it's in a stack of many reports that need to be done on top of my taxes because sometime maybe probably October. Yeah, October feels good. Anywho, it's the everything cycle beyond that, and of course projects here like you wouldn't believe. Beyond that is going to be Saturn, and one of the things that Saturn will do, especially now that it's Saturn Pluto, is Saturn will make you acknowledge and appreciate your wellness, or you get to thrive in your sickness. And Saturn likes to make chronic stuff. This isn't going to kill you. No. But you'll have a snot nose for the rest of your life, or your knees will sound like a storm door, or your fingers won't want to open up like they used to, or you'll grind your teeth, or your teeth will crack when you grind them, or you'll eat the mercury fillings in your teeth. Whatever. It's all fun. Saturn says this. So if you don't appreciate your health, if you don't work on your health, if you don't pay attention to it and give it the credit it deserves, you get to visit with your sickness for a while. How'd you like them apples?
If you have mercury fillings and
Mm,
the dentist that gave them to you is still alive and still practicing,
yep.
sue him.
It's 7 o'clock.
I don't ever want a lawsuit again. I don't care if somebody drops a piano on me. I don't ever want a lawsuit again for the rest of my life. Okay, I'll get to the spot in a minute. $325,000 for the divorce from hell, where I got. Are you ready for this? What a sport! I got the right to dig up my dead pets, which I didn't get to do because we ended up in an apartment for a while, and pew, and one lilac bush from the backyard that my dad gave my mother when I was born. And he went and poured some kind of crap on it and killed it. Okay? $325,000. I don't ever want a lawsuit. Oh, then there's that one where I had the accident and AAA said I was dead, uh, but I wasn't. And then Blue Cross said, obviously she's dead if you say she's dead. And then I had to sue them to be alive. And they made me alive as of August, but in April when I had the accident, I was still dead. And by the way, I took the kids with me, which is pretty good knowing they weren't in the car. Anyhow, litigation. Isn't it a good thing that I dropped out of law school? Over our 79-year history, the USO has been with our troops and their families through countless periods of uncertainty, change, and challenge. This has never been more important than it is today. Our mission is to go wherever they go, to be where they are, whatever they need to help them stay connected to family, home, and country. We consider that our best, our duty. We must provide it to them. Imagine being half a world away from home in a remote desert. You're carrying more than 50 pounds of gear and it's nearing 100 degrees. There's sand in your boots, your eyes, your hair, your underwear. Your ears are ringing from gunfire and explosions. What's the first thing you want to do when you get the chance? You want to talk to your family, your loved ones, and tell them you're okay and how much you miss them. So I know, if you agree, and how could you not, that the brave members of the military who sacrifice everything to defend our safety and freedoms should be able to connect with the people they love. It's what keeps them going day after day. It's what keeps them strong. For any donation, it doesn't matter how large or how small, just go to uso.org and send that blessing along to the people who let us live freely. Freedom and free. Never has been, never will be. Boy, howdy. See, I remembered that time. Last time was a little off the mark. So Swampy said nothing worse than losing your soulmate. Yeah, it does take years to get back in the group. I've always said that grief, because I've dealt with this so much. I buried the love of my life 4 times now. Okay, 4 times, and the last time he ended up walking around dead, which is even worse. Dead. Well, there's a chance, but walk around dead, ooh, you're gonna hurt more people. Um, Grief is like waves on the ocean, and you're walking along. First, you're walking, you just got your feet in the sand, and then you walk out in the water a little bit more, and you walk out, and you get it right about your knees, okay, and you do that little hop where you can kind of ride the waves, just kind of relax your body, and it's all good. And then all of a sudden, a great big wave comes and takes you out at the knees. That's grief. It's like you think you've processed it, and we all have to. And I said before, broken record, that I am. It is harder for a metaphysician to grieve than for a person who isn't metaphysically inclined, because we know this person's gone to a better place. We know that our beloved isn't really gone. Maybe we can't see him or her all the time. We can call him in our dreams. As long as we don't make him an earthbound spirit, it's all good. And that love never dies. Love is energy, raw energy, and energy can be transmuted or transformed, but it can't be destroyed. That's why we have to be smart about it. When you see people like Sings, my brother Spirit, these are souls that have been together in numerous lifetimes. Numerous lifetimes. And
Too many
so,
to count.
yeah, so there's this connection that there's nothing you could do to make me not love you, and vice versa. That is a blessing. I had that 4 times. And like I said, they're all dead. Uh, I'm sad they're dead, but it wasn't my choice. And they needed to go when they needed to go because, and I understand the lessons that we shared and the gifts they gave me and the skills they pulled out of me. So I appreciate that a lot. And I also understand that not everybody meets the love of their life 4 times. Some people are damn skippy lucky to do it once.
Well,
And you know what?
I'm so
I'm done
bound.
with it.
I am
I'm
so
done.
bound to my soul family.
I'm done. I've had enough. It's been wonderful.
And, and
So you're losing your soulmate, been there 4 times.
yeah,
It takes a while to get back in the groove. And it's like my dad, he's been gone forever. And every once in a while I sit and talk to him because I miss him so much. And he was such a funny one. Hey, okay, Daddy, come on.
I
Big tall
am so
Hayoka
bound to
Daddy.
my soul family, El, that
Yes.
I lost my childhood best friend when we were 11. He got run
Mm,
over by a random act of stupidity.
mm.
Um,
Alcohol involved.
29 years later, I met JC,
Mm-hmm.
and she had just gone through one of those counseling
Wait,
sessions.
are you telling me JC's 29?
No, JC's 23.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to say,
She
no
stayed out.
way.
She
Not
stayed
with
out of
that
the
baby
loop for.
face. No.
She stayed out of the loop for a couple of years, and she came back.
Mm.
and I now get to walk beside my childhood best friend,
Uh,
um, and it's been fun.
it's rewarding.
We do goofy stuff together that I wouldn't even think about doing with anybody my age.
I get glimpses in hospice, especially with people I don't know, and it will be a glimpse of someone I've loved and lost, and I will talk to that person accordingly, and it always fits.
Yeah,
It always fits. Some I know are going to get my sense of humor. That's a good thing, you know. Some just want me to be the reverend, you know, be respectful, reverend, whatever. And it's like a tuning fork. That's a Neptune thing. It's a tuning fork. So yes, it is a horrible thing to lose because I've been there, done it. Uh, but like you said, you're working on it. And the thing is, Michigan sinus, not to heal from that is not going to enhance your beloved because there is not, even when people commit suicide, they're just knucking futs. But there's not a person in spirit that wants you to suffer. I'm not saying she wants you to run out and get another lady, but well, I'm good with it. But she doesn't want you to suffer. Nothing is accomplished by suffering, but bringing more suffering in. And that awakens what everybody has. It's called the inner victim. These are the most vile, vitriolic, disgusting, negative, black hole people you'll ever meet in your life. We've had moments of it. You know, usually for me, it's when a pet dies. You know, it's like, bam, you're gone. Or a friend, or beloved. Okay. Anyhow, it's easy to get stuck on victim, okay? Because it means you don't have to make decisions. You don't have to make choices. You don't have to make plans. You can sit and sulk in your underwear and eat popcorn. Now, for me, I had, my friend Ronnie and I, Ronnie's a wonderful medium. Ronnie and I went to the year that I was ordained in the Spiritualist Church in something, Pennsylvania. I never got to Hershey. Uh, Church of Ageless Wisdom. That was the seminary thing. Uh, Ronnie and I had worked in the same place. We were teaching for this concern, the Metaphysical Association, and we would meet for breakfast or brunch or something on the weekends. And he would always get the gravy and the potatoes and that sloppy gravy that looks like dead things are floating in it. Pig eyes, but it's really sausage, you know. And I'd have my wheat toast and boring eggs. He's eating bacon. And so I said, you know, I know for a fact that when I'm of a mind, I can pack food away like a trucker for somebody who's 5'3", you know, like half my body weight, and then come back in that pie. Um, he said, well, no, there's a challenge. So we went to the campgrounds. I'm in this god awful little camper with a wet dog all the way to Pennsylvania and back. Um, at one point, I found a dead moose by the side of the road, and not one person would help me move that moose. How tacky is that? So we decided we're going to have an eat-a-thon. Who can out eat the other guy? Okay, kind of like Nathan's Coney Island hot dog contest for the 65. Joey, what's his name? And that small Japanese woman. Anyhow,
she
I
ate
started.
112 hot dogs.
Yeah, Joey something. It's got a real Jersey kind of name, Joey Bacon Donuts.
A
Anyway,
little bitty stick of a Japanese woman ate 112 hot dogs.
I know, and they gorge on water in between. It's like I would have what they call a return, which is splat all over the place.
Mm.
So I started with popcorn. I thought, you know, what a I'm allergic to popcorn. I love popcorn. There's an antihistamine thing that happens that my friend Quentin Calvert has explained to me many times. It's never worked. The more popcorn I eat, the more popcorn I want. The more popcorn I eat, the more popcorn I want. If it's caramel corn, it's even better. No peanuts. Thank you. Teeth. Anyhow, so I started
Have some
popcorn.
chamomile with your popcorn.
Then I
Just
moved into
flavor.
something sloppy joes and potato chips. Well, I was sick by 1 in the afternoon, and he went on to win the championship, which was like a food certificate for the greasy spoon that we ate. It was like, yeah, once in a lifetime. I will never again take that kind of challenge. There was a time when I would take a challenge just because it was a challenge. I was young and stupid then. I'm older. I'm not much wiser, but I'm older. And I realized that it always comes at a cost, doesn't it? Saturn. You could be the village idiot, but you better know how to balance your checkbook. Because if not, you're done. Just done. I got a letter from a collection agency for a loan that I never got from a company called Spotify. I've never heard of. I heard it for like a site, but not for a loan. And it can't be because I had my bills consolidated not that long ago, and it would have been on the list because you know all those funky little companies, those little credit companies, they know everything. They know when I got my toenails clipped. They know, because my smart TV is watching me. But so I wrote to him and I said, please send me some reference material because I have no idea what you're talking about. And they keep calling. It's like, why am I going to pick the phone up when I wrote to you? So tomorrow I'm going to hit print again and write on second notice. Tell me where this came from. Show me the contract. Show me my signature. Then we'll talk.
Somebody signed up for Spotify with your name.
Ooh. Could be. Probably that former producer we had.
We have a Spotify account. That's the only thing we have legitimately.
Okay, Swampy says, been there, done that, in the alcohol and drugs. I like pie. Oh, Swampy. Last weekend, my oven died. My oven died, and I'm a baker. Of course, there's one next door. But I was making, I made lemon cupcakes with cream cheese icing. But week before that, I made the best Dutch apple pie in the world. And that was Sunday dinner.
Rory's listening. That's our favorite pie.
Oh my!
Michigan,
Mine's actually key lime. Mine's key lime, actually. I'm weird like
really good key lime pies.
If it's a whippy kind, not the Jello.
12 pie recipes in my lifetime.
Wow. Y'all should write a cookbook. Cookbooks make money. You know that, don't you?
I have had 3 different people say, I will sit down and listen to you, and you can read off the ingredients, and we'll transcribe your cookbook, and we'll get it up and published and sell it.
Well,
like I said, I'm gonna download Dragon Naturally Speaking, and I'm just gonna dictate to my computer and let my computer do it.
My Mac has that function, but I can type actually faster than I can speak, which is almost impossible to understand.
I get frustrated typing now because damage that I've done to my hands makes my hands not behave like they did when I learned to type.
Yeah.
Also, the reason I don't play the keyboards with any sincerity anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did mine in karate, which is a real dumb way to mess your hands up because there's no.
Oddly enough, the worst damage I did to my right hand, I did executing a nearly perfect jump, drop, and roll because I was getting ready to run over some ladies on the sidewalk that had a baby carriage with them on my bicycle. And I decided I would display my valor and take the hit myself. Everything went smoothly. I was sailing through the air like a bird of birds. And that wooden wall that I didn't see met my hand.
It gets every time. Mine was breaking boards with my hands because there's no shock absorbers in there. So
the military doctor said, this is what we classically call a boxer's fracture.
Congratulations.
What were you trying to hit? I said, well, I was trying to hit nothing.
Avoid hitting somebody.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid hitting anything.
But the only times when my hands really don't hurt, I'm not conscious of it, pain management, when I'm drumming. And I can drum for hours.
Have you seen those cartoons where somebody's flying through the air with their arms windmilling and their legs flying akimbo?
I did that. I was on the porch carrying a 50-pound drum. And I had these like waffle sole shoes on, and the porch was icy. And I did the I Love Lucy dance. Okay. So I went down, the drum landed on me. Oof, there goes my slightly cracked rib again. And when my head hit the porch it was a bong, like an ice bong. Bong. Honest to God, I saw stars and cuckoo birds. Just like Bugs Bunny or somebody. It was stars.
All of the falls and spills I've had throughout my entire life, including the time that the horse decided to take me through a tree, I never ever actually saw those stars and the little circling.
I'm sorry for you.
Until
they're purple.
Until I fell down the steps holding beans. and I knew that if Beans touched the floor, Beans would hurt.
Yep.
So I wrapped Beans in the Opa cocoon, and I took the brunt of the hit to the floor.
Mhm.
Well, I clocked myself so good that I had to lay there on the floor for a couple of minutes with Beans going, Opa, Opa.
Do it again. That was
Okay,
nice.
Opa.
Do it again. Oh, my cat seems to
And
be
everybody got home from work that day, and they're like, "What's wrong with you?"
my Lady Elizabeth Victoria Grace happens to be, she's an Angora, she's beautiful. Um, she's a healer. And so I worked 18 hours. I got an hour off. Aren't I lucky? So I could shower and I could eat. And with luck, I could lay down for 20 minutes and maybe that pain in my side might go away because my backache was like working its way around front. You done those, haven't you? Where it's like,
Hmm.
can't breathe. Oh, anyhow, so I laid down on the bed, and the cat came in, and she laid on my side where I was hurting. It's like a nice little heating pad, a purring heating pad, and she just curling up with me. She purrs. I don't have to do anything. It's wonderful. And I looked previously on Google, which is God. Uh, why does my cat lay on top of me? And it said, well, body heat, companionship, ownership, whatever. So I'm laying there and I had 20 minutes, takes me forever to sleep. I almost got to sleep, and the douches at the production company across the street, oh, remind me, uh, dropped some heavy metal thing that sounded like dropping a dumpster. Okay. It was a bang. And the cat who was on my side ran down to my feet and wrapped herself around my ankles and protected me. Is that sweet? I always thought she'd eat my eyeballs, but no. She laid
Well,
her legs over me and protected me.
my last cat would get very defensive if you didn't let her sleep in the bedroom.
Oh, we don't even debate that here.
Well, Sweetie is so allergic to cats that we couldn't because my cat would sleep on Sweetie's head.
Aw.
And it's just because she wanted Sweetie to have a good night's sleep,
Mhm.
but because of the allergies and the aggravation that went along with the allergies, it just wasn't something we could allow to go on.
No.
Unfortunately,
Well, there's always needy critters. With the three of mine, especially with them being indoor, outdoor, make up your mind. I very often end up on the couch because two of them alone can hog the bed. You put that 23-pound bum in the bed, it's over. But I have a nice couch.
hi Eileen.
Yeah, she had a healer cat. I think all critters are healers to a certain amount, but this one seems to know. She'll know if I'm just low energy. She'll come along and boom, there she is.
Well, cats and some dog breeds to a degree do their own form of Reiki
Hmm.
or energy healing. And yeah, I had a dog that would supercharge me if
Sweet.
the dog knew I was going out into the world to face something ugly.
Hmm.
If the dog decided that I didn't need supercharged, I obviously wasn't going to encounter anything. I mean, I could pretty much set my clock on that dog if
Nice.
she came up to me in the morning and just gave me all this energy. I knew that the day was going to be crap.
Mm.
I'm like, well, I guess you're doing the best you can to make sure I make it through it, right?
Oh, there we have to remember that this is not heaven for critters. This is the mundane world, and we can't possibly comprehend that kind of unconditional love.
No,
Would that we all could, it'd be a much better world, but we can't. We just can't. And they love you. I mean, they've shown that dogs that are beaten to come back to their master.
I've never questioned the prescience of animals.
Mm-mm. No.
They have a knowing that just is.
Yep.
Uh, I
And
had
they're closer to God.
yeah, I had a horse that would take me anywhere as long
Oh,
as I let the horse have the reins.
mm.
Um,
I'm good with that. I'm good with bareback. But when I was in dressage, I had this horse who, in practice, he was perfect. And the minute we got into competition to take a gate, that sucker was hit his air brakes. I'd go flying over the gate and land in the mud puddle. It was like every damn time.
Bandit was a level 2 dressage horse.
Pretty.
He was a healer, as in you could rope the rear end of a calf off of him.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't head off of him because he freaked out when the steers turned to face him.
Sure.
Um,
Actually, it's when they stop moving, it's dangerous.
yeah, he was an excellent trail horse. Uh, when I was forced to give him away, I placed him with a home for people that were less fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And his teacher, because he had just been enrolled in a reining class, his teacher decided that he liked Bandit so much that he moved his whole reining class to the home for children.
That's
So
excellent.
they got to watch every day him teach Bandit how to be a reining horse.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely. I have a friend that's working with veterans with PTSD and
Uh,
post.
uh, Linda, you need to change your bedding. She says, why is her middle cat peeing on her bed? Did it 8 days in a row, so now I've locked her out of my room.
Something to do with another cat or another person. Has Laurel been there? If you had company, did somebody bring a critter in, or is there a new critter in the neighborhood? It's territorial.
Territorial, but it could also be territorial over an unknown energy in the bedroom.
Sure. Sage works.
Yep.
I know those nights up till 4 a.m. in the morning doing linens because squish. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. My Tortie. My Tortie, I got a kitten for my Tortie because I thought she'd be a great mom. She hated her. And of course, the Tortie, the Bengal, is nuts. This is the Bengal that did, oh gosh, I think it was $5,000 or $6,000 worth of property damage in a month before I could rid her of her toenails. Every linen, every chair, my couch, my, ooh. I had shopped for 2 years. I'm big on comparison shopping. Shop for 2 years to get the perfect to go with my color and mode leaded glass fire screen for the fireplace. I set it up. She jumped on it and smashed it. And then, as a pièce de résistance, she went in the bathroom, climbed up the wall. I don't know how, and wrestled a 40-pound mirror off the wall onto the tile floor. To this day, I walk on glass in that bathroom. I scrub the floor once a week. It doesn't matter. It's like Christmas tree pokey things, Christmas tree needles. So could be a UTI. Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually, IMS has
And
food for that.
if it's a medical issue, the cat's doing what it's doing in your bed because it needs
Want
to
to
draw
know.
your attention.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go get her checked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Sage your house. But like I said, IMS has urinary tract healthy something food. I get it from, of course, Amazon because without Amazon, how would I live? Well, this is so sad. I actually know the number to Amazon Logistics by heart. In this last year, between Lisa and I, we've called 114 times on messed up orders. So last order they messed up. I got my espresso, my same company we go to.
Still waiting on my CD.
Yeah. Okay. So I got my espresso, and I got some highlighters that I needed for reports. I'm running out of. I told you I'm running out of office supplies. So I thought 2 days. That's good. I'm working a double, so it'll be here when I get home. Jump into the job. Well, they left it outside on the ground, not where they're supposed to, in the rain, and the bag of beans was broken open. Now, I am not going to sift bits of cardboard out of my coffee beans. That's not happening. So I called Amazon Logistics, like I got nothing else to do, and they sent the order again. They sent the order again wrong. They left it at the wrong door and out in the rain again. It's like, really?
You have a covered back porch.
I got a patio. It's enclosed. Please, come third time, and they said, "Well, just keep your money." And I said, "Fine." So fine.
Mhm.
But sometimes you have to be Saturn, the Queen of Swords, that says this is acceptable, this is not. If you want to live like the village idiot, that's really fine. Ain't nobody gonna stop you. But sooner or later, you're gonna jump into the deep end of the empty pool. And then Saturn, who rules bones and teeth, will knock your teeth out and break your bones. And no one's gonna kiss you goodnight or feel sorry for you. And you end up on my diet, which is moosh. Although I've gotten into squash lately. Sad, isn't it? I'm eating
Surprised
baby
and
food.
happy.
I'm eating baby food. Soup. Baby food. So I figure, when I get my teeth, as soon as I get my teeth, when I get my teeth, because I will get my teeth. When I get my teeth replaced, I want cashews. I miss cashews.
Huh.
And then I want breadsticks. Or those great
And
big dollar,
pistachios.
Hmm?
And pistachios.
great big salty pretzel sticks. Crunch, crunch, crunch. That's what I want. Salads. Food you can chew, not fish or chicken. You don't need teeth for fish or chicken. Just
Steak.
moo.
Moo.
For the past 3 days ago, CB drops in her food. My oldest cat rushes to finish whatever she leaves. So that's not bad. I got some more here if you need them. I got some for Mr. Blue, and it didn't work for him. Or me. How sad is that? Once again, my dispensary delivers. Isn't that sweet? And last time I said, this is like the old days. You call in, you set your order, you give them your whatever, and they give you a number, and you pull into the parking lot, and this guy sneaks up to the car. He takes your money. He runs in. He gets your bag of dope, runs out and hands it to you. And I said, this is like the old days. And I don't have to go to the inner city. Swampy says, I miss nuts too, but no more dentures. Saving for full implants. You know, Swamp, implants are getting quicker and cheaper. So look online. That's what I did. And there's most of them, almost all of them, have some kind of discount, whatever. So yeah, and they do them in a day. It used to be you'd get something done, you go back, you wait a month, you go back. Oh, kill me. So yeah, it's on the list. That and losing my chin collection, because it's like you said, you grow a beard. That's not fair. I'm not in prednisone anymore. I don't have whiskers. That was my biggest fear, And I was sitting in the car one day. I kept checking in the mirror in sunshine, because and I had this hair growing out of my chin that looked like the Wicked Witch of the I don't know what the hell. And I wrapped it around my finger like 8 times, going rip. I was like, you're kidding me. That was just a brief experience with prednisone, which is evil.
JC sent me a picture. It's a JC stare. I'm
Oh
scared.
yeah.
I'm in trouble.
Mm-mm.
They're gonna get me.
You may be grounded. Well, no matter how you look at it, because the kids both, you're outnumbered. So in my world, you wouldn't even get a vote. That's why I'm outnumbered by cats.
I don't ever get a vote.
I know. I pulled a can of tuna out of the cabinet the other night, and Tigger was on me like white on rice, and I thought, guess I'm not having any tuna. Remind me.
I made a statement last night, and it kind of sunk in for a minute. Everybody looked at me and smiled. JC said, it's time for you to make a decision on what we're having to eat. I said, I don't do that anymore. I made the menu for 11 months, and I got us all in trouble. Look, I am a really good cook. I am an accomplished chef. But if you give me free reign, I'm going to make comfort food.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody needs a moon lodge of sorts. It's important. And you're probably not going to eat it. Well, I have a personal ritual that when I buy ice cream, it takes a while to get it from the store to home. It's probably melted a little bit. And I'll get like a little bitty Demtas cup, and I'll take all the melty stuff because that's mine. Mm. And the kids are like, what's with the ice cream? Don't know. Melted funny. Get in my belly. Oh, yeah.
In my belly.
Well, it's that time again. We've heard a lot of talk about the 99%. I'd like to talk to you about another percentage. That's 1%. That represents the 1% of Americans who volunteer for the armed services so you and I can sleep securely at night and take our freedom for granted. Though we've been told the war is over, it's far from over for them. 1 in 3 returning troops are being diagnosed with post traumatic stress disorder. Less than 40% will seek help. Less than 40%. Veteran homelessness is also on the rise. Currently, a third of our nation's homeless are veterans. Isn't that horrible? And so many more of the walking wounded are heading home. Let's make a true homecoming for these exceptional human beings. We are the land of the free, distinctly because of the brave. It's up to us to welcome our veterans home with open arms and enlightened minds. We must let these brave men and women know they've not been forgotten. To take your part in this necessary healing, please go to ptsdusa.net, gotyour6.org, or the woundedwarriorsproject.org. For veterans, there's a Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-TALK and the National Veterans Foundation Hotline at 1-888-777-4443. The saddest casualty of all to be forgotten is up to you and I to see it doesn't happen. Not on our watch.
Never again.
Amen. Amen. So Jupiter, Saturn, there's what you want and what you're getting. Jupiter, Saturn is what you can do, what you don't feel like doing. Jupiter, Saturn, expansion and contraction coming together. My friend B, the crazy one, it's my voice of reason. I don't understand that one bit. Anyhow, I mean, she's brilliant when she gives me advice, and her life is just shit. Anyway, she does this thing because I used to do lots of wellness weekends at hotels, and I would cater them because that's me, you know. And so I would take in teas and coffees and get pizza and salad and cookies, and she would get hot tea and a glass, not a metal glass, and ice and water, and she would pour the hot tea and the water over the ice to such a degree that the glass didn't shatter. That's Jupiter, Saturn, because Saturn's expansion, pardon me, Jupiter's expansion, Saturn's contraction. So when you pull them together, you end up with this really nice blend of enthusiasm and common sense that keeps you from jumping in the deep end of the pool when it's empty, which I've done, romantically speaking. And we know how that worked, don't we? Never mind. No, it's best this way.
Things that needed to happen had to get in the way of me finding true love long before I found it. I had to learn some hard life lessons, and I had to bring
in order to accept it.
Yeah, well, I also had to bring a baby into the world that brought 7 different bloodlines together.
Sure.
So I did that, and then I spent, quite a few years not doing anything like that. I walked in a restaurant one day and knew that the person on the other side of the restaurant that wouldn't even look at me was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with.
Saturn. And then when you finally got together, Jupiter.
Yeah.
Saturn, she had to figure out who you were, where you come from, what are you about, what are your standards. That's just it. I've always said it should be as hard to get married as it is to get a dog out of the pound. Unfortunately, it isn't, which is why I've married a couple men with worms, ringworm.
Well, look, in the old days, you had to spend a year in their teepee to even get started.
But when it's done, you split that blanket and it's over, honey.
Yeah.
Boom. See ya.
If it didn't work out in that year, it's not ever going to work out. So,
right.
We encourage people to spend a year and a day together to see if it's going to work out.
Well, see, now I prefer. It's like I was driving behind a student driver one day, and I thought, there should be like student married people, and so people that want to get married, especially if they're not 28 years of age. Thank you.
They have to apprentice to somebody that's been married.
No, better. They have to move every other month to what would be their in-laws in the basement. And they get to live in a basement for a year. And if they can live in a basement for a year and not kill each other or their in-laws or set fires, then maybe they can get married. but of course they'll need counseling.
Well, you know, in the Oglala fashion, the young man spends a good moon cycle listening to his intended grandmother,
Hmm.
and the young woman spends about the same amount of time listening to the young man's grandfather.
Excellent.
If they can tolerate the grandfather and the grandmother without losing their cool, without losing their way,
Hmm. No
then
police.
they're given permission to pursue a year and a day contract.
Hmm.
I mean, you spend a year and a day, and you don't get to have sex during that year and a day.
I
You
was
don't.
going to say no babies. No
Yeah,
babies.
no babies. You sleep with a bundled roll between you.
Mhm.
Um,
That's kind of Amish. Whew, cool.
yeah. But you also sleep in your mother-in-law's tent or
Hmm.
teepee or whatever the dwelling was. So you spend a year and a day sleeping in your mother-in-law's teepee with her daughter, with a blanket roll between you. If you can survive that, you're going to survive all of the harshness,
Almost anything. Yep.
all of the upsets, all of the dilemmas that enter your life,
Hmm.
because you no longer have mama staring over your shoulder. You no longer have grandmother breathing down your neck. You've been given license to be a part of their family.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's how it was. You became a part of their family. They didn't become a part of your family. You-
Acceptance. Pure acceptance.
yeah,
Of course, she got schooled first. That's Saturn.
you got to
Then
learn.
Jupiter kicks in. It's like waiting for the bus and a limo pulls up. If you're a good kid and you get up and you brush and floss and get ready for school or work or whatever, and go out to meet the bus and a limo pulls up, that's when you've gone from Saturn to Jupiter. Now, I'll tell you, limos are largely overpriced. There was one here pumping exhaust into my great room, better part of Saturday night. And of course, it was the douche and company. And so the douche had the boys over and the girls had a night out. But they sort of had this bus at a stripper pole in it, which I guess that's for stripper pole mommy, who's the girlfriend of both the husband and wife. But dad had his friends over. Now, Saturday night, it was like, well, Sunday morning, about 4 a.m., girls rolled in, la 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 la, finally left about 5 a.m. So who needs sleep? Uh, his friends showed up Saturday night, didn't leave till Monday night. I see these mangy looking guys walking in carrying sleeping bags and blankets. And I'm thinking, oh, Jeebus. They're
What are
moving
they
in.
cooking in the basement?
Meth, I'm sure.
I mean, you got to ask yourself that.
He'll do anything rather than work, which that's hers. Someday she's
Yeah,
going to
you got a
crack.
bunch of mangy looking dudes
Oh, mangy, mangy, mangy.
rolling
Okay,
into a
if
Bigfoot
if
house with their sleeping bags. Come on
if
now.
dope is free, what is he selling? Because every Friday and Saturday, people come in, they knock on the door, they run in, they come out with a baggie and say, "Thanks, man." Okay, I don't think that's for
Nah.
airport.
And legal dispensaries have put a really harsh harsh climate out there for black market herb dealers.
Well, there's no need for them unless they're stealing this stuff. You're never going to get that kind of a deal. Like I said, I think there are 12 now, and there's another one opening up in Hazel Park, which is 10 minutes away from me. And everyone gives a first-time customer discount, 20 or 25%. You can't beat that with a stick. It's
Oh, I know where I'm going to re up.
all good.
Look, we're plotting our course according to where it's legal.
Shrooms. Shrooms. Find me a shroom dealer.
um, how close are you to Cincinnati?
Not far.
That's how far you got to go.
Although it's Ohio, and I have mixed emotions about Ohio.
I could probably get him to you, but he would have to beg, borrow, and steal rides to do that. Because you know how that life is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No mailing address. Gotcha.
But hey,
Not a,
you
you
know,
know, if and when the time is right. I mean, it's not like I'm asking for ayahuasca.
give
Okay.
give the trials in Oregon about another 6 months to finalize, so they can produce the reports, so they can put
Mhm.
the red paper down on it, and it'll be limited legally, or legally limited in a few states,
Mhm.
where you'll be able to buy enough for personal use, and
Mhm.
they're talking about microdose personal use, which is perfect for me for what I use them for.
Sure.
Um,
It's an
they've
honest experience.
they've found, and I've concurred, that microdosing with psilocybin is the quickest way to fixing depression.
Absolutely. Although I do have those antidepressants that will potentially make you suicidal. If you want to look on the dark
If you
side.
want to fix the depression the other way, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of
I,
drag it out longer. And the doctor had no reason. Why are you giving her these? I don't know. Oh, $440,000, and all I got from these people is I don't know. Oh, good.
yeah,
No pressure. That's
that's
why they call medicine a practice. They're still practicing, and we're the lab rats.
not anymore.
Ketamine. Oh, ketamine will take you bye bye.
I
That's
wouldn't mess
okay.
with that. Uh, I had to give my horse that
Yeah,
a lot,
mean
because
stuff.
he ended up with wind splints for a minute.
Oh,
So we had him on ketamine and had him in a cradle. Um, but yeah, the small amount of ketamine that it took to knock my horse out,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to take any chances.
Why the roofie crowd prefers it. Um, Consider this meditation. Every minute that someone leaves this world behind, we are all in line without knowing it. We'll never know how many people are in front of us. We can't move to the back of the line. We can't get out of the line. We can't avoid the line. Since while we're in line, we know how to make moments count, to make priorities on our lives, to make the time for the important things, to make your qualities known, to make people feel important and empowered, to make your voice heard, even if it shakes from time to time, to make big things out of small things, make small things out of big things, embrace whatever resources you have, make somebody smile, make them laugh, make the change, become the change, make love, make peace, get ready. Make sure to tell your people that you love them abundantly. Make sure you have no regrets. Make sure that when you are ready, you're ready. I'm ready. I mean, I'm not, other than my work schedule, I'm not doing anything to bring the moment sooner. Uh, but having been there, it's not an issue.
I've been ready for 41 years,
Uh,
since my second time across the veil.
yeah, and
Um,
it's always beautiful.
but truthfully, honestly, I have too much left in here.
Hmm.
And sitting and talking with the creator about all of the people in my life that checked out in a fashion that I considered early and untimely, the creator reminded me that I wrote my script so today.
Indeed.
And sometimes
Although I had certain people drag me back twice times
I
when I said, "Oh Lordy be, I'm
wasn't
coming home." No, that's why the second time I said thanks. I think because every time I went in the hospital, they made me sicker,
I wasn't done with you, and you're healthy now, or healthier.
relatively. Not bad for 110 at my age. I guess I'm fair.
Yeah, you're doing good.
I do. I love my picture.
um,
Reverend H.
we do what we have to do to keep those around that we need. And Swampy, there have been a lot of deaths this year. In the last 21 months, there's been a tremendous amount of deaths that a lot of people are looking at as needless deaths, but I'm also looking at the fact that there's going to be 1.6 billion babies born in the next 16 months.
Mm.
And 1.6
Bug babies.
billion babies, that energy had to come from somewhere. So a lot of those people that checked out over the last 22 months checked
They'll
out
circle
because
back.
they needed to be here longer than they could
Yeah.
with that walk.
Yep.
Um,
And I've always said the children born directly before, during, and after the bug are going to be a very special generation of healers
hmm
because they're born, God bless, they're born at a time when the fear in the air is so palpable you could cut it with a butter knife. I'm sitting online the other day and I'm reading about the new bug, and I thought, why the hell am I reading this? I don't plan to get it. I don't want to start practicing the symptoms. I don't care.
I took my amber off yesterday for 30 minutes.
Very
Okay.
good. Put it right back on.
I put it right back on. And I told Sweetie, I said, look, you need to find your amber and wear it.
Mm.
Because 80% of what you're feeling right now, I didn't feel until I took my amber off. The sense of, oh my God, what's going to happen next is so palpable.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that word. I can't.
Palpable.
Yeah, that one. That you can cut it with a knife.
Mm.
Okay. And, a lot of people don't believe in the things I believe in, but I believe that
That's fine.
my filters work.
Yep.
And I know my filters work now because I put my amber back on and it immediately went away.
Well, I asked a very spiritual Native American based question about my own personal growth. And today, out of nowhere, my buffalo horn choker appeared on the bookcase in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I just so happened to have a brand new bag for it. So I put it in the brand new bag and I said, thank you, Great Spirit. That's what I needed. Thank you. Because, I always worry about,
Time to strap that bad boy on.
I only do that when I'm teaching, which would be appropriate now, wouldn't it?
Excuse me, Reverend Dr. L. Newman, you've been teaching for the last 55 years nonstop.
110, but who's counting?
I divided it by 2.
Okay, thank you. You don't look so much like my driver's license picture.
I'm being nice.
It's wonderful in hell when they're taking your photo. It's just wonderful. It's like this is me in front of the firing squad.
No. Our DMV has opened up you can get your license setting in front of your computer. Do you have this kind of color backdrop?
Oh, jeez.
Hang this behind you and sit down in front of your computer. We'll take the picture.
At this point, I can renew my tabs online, but for my license, I have to go there and get pretty. Oh, well. As they say,
I'm going to have my picture taken with that behind me.
When you look like your driver's license picture, it's time to go home. Or your passport. That's even worse.
My passport picture is horrendous.
They don't stamp them anymore. That's not fun. They just zap them.
Well, mine's a card.
Wow. I was wanting a
I have
Canadian.
to get mine renewed next year. And we're talking about Grandmother Isabel still wants Mama Sings to come to the lake and go through a moon lodge with her on the lake. So our plans are, as soon as it's actually safe to travel, to make a trip to Serpent River.
Sure.
Let her spend a month with Grandmother Isabel on the lake.
Beautiful.
Grandmother Isabel has extended the invitation to Rory and JC. I think it's some, it's a wisdom base that you can't beat with a stick.
Sure.
Okay, she grew up. She went through a residential school. Her parents were both in residential schools. She lost a sibling to a residential school, and she's followed the traditional path her whole life.
It's one of those things where you have to wonder. I mean, only an exceptionally strong spiritual person could make it through. But who's in better shape, the ones that died or the ones that kept going through the torture? I mean, I know it happens for a reason, Saturn. But hurting children, I just can't. My brain fries.
They're going to be held accountable now.
Yep. What are we up to? 600?
Oh, no, you've lost touch. We're
Oh
at
yeah.
1,612.
Nice.
210 of those were found within 2 hours of your house.
Lovely. Ohio?
No, Michigan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting ugly. If you notice, I'm in an orange shirt. You'll probably see more orange shirts on me now.
Mm-hmm.
We're representing. You know,
Beautiful.
if you see me in the shirt with the red hand on it, and you wanna get an hour-long conversation about why, just ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'll tell you. Okay, it's the crimes that have been committed against not just the indigenous people of this country, but the indigenous population of the world.
Mm-hmm.
The crimes that have been perpetrated by colonialism, and the Catholic Church are horrendous.
Which continue to this day.
Yes, they do. Uh, one of the corpses found in Pennsylvania, the kid went to school in 1980
Hmm.
at the school in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Okay, and he never made it home.
Mm-hmm.
And they know it was a kid that went to school in 1980 because he had on clothes from that era.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a grave with children that, I mean, they weren't even digging new graves. They were opening up the same communal grave
Mm-hmm.
year after year.
Oh.
I mean, this is just horrendous behavior.
I have to find the name of that author because he's written a whole compendium of books about the residential schools, and he gives them away for free. I think it's a 4-volume set. Unfortunately, there are so many books in this house that often I just buy another copy. It's easier. I know all my Dan Fortunes, I have 2 copies, but when I got ready to start on the book, I'm doing all my research.
When we get the residence built,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a trip to Michigan, and I'm going to relieve you of some of your extra copies.
Very good. Very good.
Because I need to rebuild my library. It's scattered all over the country now.
I do that. I think books should be repurposed. So
Look,
unless it's from, I have one called Voices from Spirit by Joey Sum.
I've had 12 different copies of The Alchemist. I've given every single one of them away.
Secret Teachings of the Ages by Manly B. Hall.
Yeah.
Which
I've
when it
given that
started
one
was
away
only
twice.
$110.
JC
Giving that
says
away
books are a
5-600.
beautiful gift that keep giving.
Yep.
I've given away The Power of Now, Living in the Now, and The Power of the Word at least 6 times. Because I find that I'll be out in public and see somebody that's just hopelessly lost wearing that pair of comfortable old shoes, and I'll be like, son, you need to read The Alchemist. Here, let me give you my copy.
If you read the Taoist Way by Bruce Lee, I read it to get more karate combinations because, he's the king of all that. Turns out, dude was so Buddhist that you open the book to the Noble Truths.
Mm-hmm.
And I got more off of that one page. And mind you, he wrote this book when he was in one of those circular beds because he had sparred with a man who didn't think you should teach white people any karate or any Asian martial arts and broke his back. It was a setup. So he's spinning around in his bed making sketches, and his wife took it down by a long hand. And it's a beautiful book. And if you never embrace anything more than the Noble Truths, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah.
It's pure Zen, it's pure Buddha. Which is, you don't get better than that. You just don't.
I've found in my recent encounters that a lot of people mistakenly create their Zen space around somebody else.
Oh yeah, no, doesn't work.
And your Zen space has to be you.
Mm-hmm.
It has to encompass what you are, not just who you are, but what you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Including
has
your,
to,
including your intent.
yeah. And you have to make your Zen space something that returns you to center. I tell people to find a happy memory that didn't include people,
Mm-hmm.
um, because that's how I was taught. Um,
I had a cycle where I was going through the breakup from hell, and I couldn't watch any TV shows that were about people because I wasn't dealing with myself real well at the time. And if you're not dealing with yourself real well at the time, you really don't want to deal with other people. And it took me a good 6 months to work that through. That's okay. There's still Facebook where there's funny stuff. By the way, don't forget tonight, this week's astrological forecast will appear from the heavens to the astralbaglady.net, probably around 8:15, because my web goddess is, I've captured her. She has no choice. Then we'll figure out my Facebook thing.
so we can
I
get
don't
you
know my password. I'm
paid.
changing every place that tells me my password is incorrect. I'm changing it to incorrect. When they say your password is incorrect, yes, you're right, it is. Because I only have two, three. Never mind. Oh, and don't forget about. Go ahead.
For your spiritual needs, reach out to www.foroflightkind.com. And if you're looking for that special piece of spiritual jewelry, reach out to www.spiritwalksfarcreations.com.
Pipes.
We have
Pipe.
partner pipes, and for your viewing pleasure, here in just a little bit, you'll get to see me and JC Moon Spirit, who's probably still a little bit upset with me because I was poking fun. But you'll see us get to hash it out live on Facebook. Spirit Soarings, take a walk with me. Moon Spirit Magic, Four of Like Kind. I think I got it all.
I'm right with me.
There's a lot.
And to my clients who are patiently waiting for your reports, I promise they're going off this week. Pinky swear they're going off this week. Thank you for your patience. It's been. We had trees fall down. It's just been a mess.
And 6 days of 18 hours.
I know. I did that way back in the day when we were stuck with the holiday restaurant and catering business. I worked 7 days a week for 9 years. I had 3 days off, got married twice, and had a baby once. That's food service, okay? Walk it off, kid. Get back to work.
My last major job was one of those that required me to be on call
Uh huh.
141 hours a week.
Sweet.
That
What do you
lasted
do with your
10
spare time?
years. What I do in my spare time?
Yeah.
Look, I had to take days off to if I needed to go to the doctor, I had to take a day off.
Oh, sure. My oven. I have to get a day off. One, I have to get a day off to empty the damn kitchen because there's so much stuff in there, appliances. And then I have to clean the kitchen because it's a Virgo thing. And I have to move the fridge. I have to take an island out of the kitchen and put it, I know not where. And then sit and wait for Mr. DT to show up and say, it's your thermostat. Because the cooktop works, but the oven doesn't. The electronics work, the oven doesn't. So that's telling me thermostat or thermocouple or whatever, something like that.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. That's why we have insurance, boys and girls.
right.
It's
So
all good.
we'll be back in 168 hours
We sure will.
for your next adventure with Answers with the Astral Bag Lady,
Indeed.
with your wonderful host, Reverend Dr. L. Newman and Reverend Spirit Soaring. I said it right that
You
time.
did. You got it right that time. I'm very proud of you. Peace
I'm-
out, everybody. Have a beautiful week.
Yes. Peace and blessings, everyone.